It's not good morning this time. Good afternoon. I having trouble sleeping, so you know what? I was like, I'm gonna come and talk to you all about the man of many fathers. Let me see, I get it back here. The Man of Many Fathers by Roy Wood Jr. I haven't quite finished this one yet, but I am really enjoying this book. Really enjoying this book. It is life lessons disguised as a memoir, and it's really good at doing both. So, um, it's talking about, obviously it's a memoir of his life, very interesting life, very interesting childhood. And this book, it has a way of really, like, I think, being relevant for all kinds of family, just very interesting family structure. um I was thinking, like, oh, this is a good book for fathers to read, a good book for people without fathers to read, people with fathers to read, people who want to be fathers definitely should pick this up. Yeah, it's really good. Let me read you all. Uh, I don't know what the synopsis. When Roy Wood Jr. held his baby boy for the first time, he was relieved that his son was happy and healthy, but he felt a strange mix of joy and apprehension. Roy's own father, a voice of the civil rights movement in Birmingham, Alabama, had passed away when Roy was 16. There were gaps in the lessons passed down from his father to son, and holding his own child, Roy wondered, have I managed to fill in those blanks to learn the lessons I will one day need to teach my boy? Man, I have thought the same thing. Like, have I learned all I need to know? How am I possibly gonna teach this child everything that he needs to learn? How am I gonna teach him all these lessons? How am I gonna make sure the lessons are the right ones? So Roy looked back to figure out who had taught him lessons throughout his life and which he could pass down to his son. Some of his father figures were clear, like a colorful man from Philadelphia navigating life after prison, who taught Roy the value of having a vision for his life, or his fellow comedians who showed him that it's what it took to make it as a working stand-up performer. Others were less obvious, from the teenage friends who convinced him to race leaf boats carrying lit matches in the middle of a drought, to a drug addicted restaurant colleague who played hoops while Roy scoured dirty dishes to big names in Hollywood like Trevor Noah. Wait, okay, well, while Roy scoured dirty dishes to big names in Hollywood like Trevor Noah and more. So, this is this was really great. I definitely recommend the audio as well. Um, how both his parents sound like Dave Chappelle. But obviously is the author reading the audiobook, but I really enjoyed this. It manages to do all of this and be funny. So in The Man of Many Fathers, Roy shares learned what he's learned with humor and heart, delivering the most memorable lessons such as how to channel anger through a more successful outlet. Hint, never ever try to outfox a single mom. How not to get caught snitching. Hint, never snitch. And how to become a good man and a good dad. Hint, listen to your fathers. So, really enjoyed this. And that reminds me of how you can, it just reminds me how you can learn from so many different people. You can learn from so many different situations, good ones, bad ones. It's all about seeing the message. It's all about seeing what's there for you to get out of is to spot the lesson that you're supposed to pull out, in the moment. Um, Highly recommend. Um, and yeah, very funny. Audio's funny. I also hopped on here before I had finished the book because I just watched the craziest movie I have ever seen in my life. I'm having really hard time coming up with a movie that may have been crazier than Donnie Darko. But I have always, thought that I would watch this movie at some point. I don't know why. I believe I've always been interested in Donnie Darko because it's like a dark classic. Um, it's it's like the first movie that Jake Gyllenhaal was ever in, and he was kind of like an instant star after this movie. Side note: Maggie Gyllenhaal is in the movie just as much as Donnie, almost not just as much, but like half as much. So I didn't. That was a pleasant surprise because I didn't realize that Maggie Gyllenhaal was in this movie. But Jake and Maggie Gyllenhaal both, ooh, big old wasp. But um, it was really I can see why they were like instant stars. Well, I really don't know the lore because, like I said, by the time this movie got on my radar, it had already been out um, a minute, and it probably was a slow build, but the movie has so many stars that I recognized in it, including Drew Barrymore and Noah Wiles. Is that his name? Just yeah, a lot of people, a lot of familiar faces in the movie. So, and watching it, like, first of all, it's a very interesting storyline, and very intense storyline. I think that it's well known that he's having visions. That's not like a spoiler. He's a teenager and he's having visions, and I don't think they said why he was having visions, but something happened. And at the very beginning of the movie, he's already like in the thing that has caused caused him to have these visions, and it was very well acted. So, like I said, I could see why um, this is a solid, on anyone's resume. I could see why, like, Jake Gyllenhaal you know, was wanted to, you know, get get other projects, was sought after, is what I'm trying to say, sought after, because it was definitely an unforgettable movie. It seemed like, I wonder, I have to look up the movie. I shouldn't be talking about it the way I am without looking it up first, but it was just it's fresh on my mind, and it was very like I didn't even expect what I saw. I mean, obviously, you don't know what a movie. I go in. I've seen the trailer before, but the trailer doesn't really tell you like what it's about. So I guess to what I'm thinking, like, okay, I can probably talk to you all about this movie without spoiling it. So he having visions, and he is, as you can imagine, he's troubled because anyone who's that young and having to deal with high school and everything else that comes with being a teenager, and you're having visions, yeah, you're gonna be on fucking edge. You're gonna be on edge. Like, you're gonna be having issues. So he was getting into it with everybody, met a girl, so that's still, he was still able to find young teenage love. Um, And yeah, of course, the visions become problematic. Um, and it was a very eventful ending. Um, and I guess I would say it is fairly dark. I I always wanted to see the movie, but I never did watch Donnie Darko because it just came off as something that was dark, and obviously he's young in the movie, so I didn't make it up. I didn't prioritize it, um, but it was it was really good in like a mind melding kind of way. So like if you don't like your mind being twisted all up in a ball and like turned around every which way but loose, turned every I didn't have to act it out. But if you don't mind your brain being turned every which way but loose, then yeah, watch Donnie Darko. Yeah. Like it was good in that sense. But if you don't like stuff that's like what? Then if you don't like things like that, then don't watch it. Um, um, I'm actually kind of impressed. I mean, it's not often where you watch something and you're like, I don't really know if I'm glad I sat and watched that or not. Um, Another thing I wanted to say is that it seems inappropriate, but it actually was not as inappropriate as it seemed. It was, you know, my teenager picked it, and I wouldn't mind him watching it, but it's just what I explained. Like, if you don't like stuff that's gonna fold your brain like a piece of paper, then don't watch it. But it was I was there was bad behavior. So if you don't want your kid watching bad behavior, and I do, even though my kid is old, I do still kind of screen stuff. He he put the movie on and was knocked out. So I still, took the opportunity to watch it before before he was able to watch it. And yeah, it actually I didn't find it to be like I he to in my opinion, he's watched worse movies than that. So I was impressed. The movie is Donnie Darko. I don't know if y'all have ever seen. There's 22 people in here, so have y'all ever seen Donnie Darko? That that was wild. Anybody want to talk about it? I just gave a rundown with no spoilers. I don't know. I didn't think there were any spoilers, and it's an old movie, um, but it was wild. And now I also see why people don't talk about it because it's not a movie that you hear people talking about a lot. And once you watch it, you see why. It's um, a lot going on. So yeah, I was impressed because with all that ish going on and still being like, oh, okay, I guess even though the rabbit is scary, um, with all that stuff going on, it still wasn't like super inappropriate for audiences. So it's like, whoa, okay, well done. It was well done. Creepy as hell, creepy, but it was well done. So that's what I did today. Um, pick up the book. It was delightful. Watch the movie if you don't mind your brain getting folded like a piece of paper. And happy reading. I'll see y'all next time.